Well, hello, Combat Crew! Welcome to another Scorpion and Sub-Zero
review
the Mortal Kombat movie!
The one that just came out! Oh my god, I saw this earlier today. He saw it last night.
I saw it last night.
And...
I saw it yesterday. I couldn't wait to start this thing. I had the shakes. I was about to push the play button. I was sitting on the couch. Was ready to go. Didn't want any distractions whatsoever. And I pressed it. I was like, ugh. I'm about to watch this. All this hype and just build for this moment. And wait. What did you think?
Yeah, well,
generally, this first part of the video is spoiler free for right now until I tell you.
Yeah, so let's just talk.
Gonna be all the spoilers after that.
Let's talk about some of the good things for one. Like one of them, for instance, is the cinematography, the fight scenes as well. Both of those flow so amazingly together. Scorpion, you want to say something on that?
If they had failed on the fight scenes, this movie would be dead. That concentration they put on the effects and the fights, the matchups, maybe a little iffy. They could have been better matchups, but. For what they did do, they were very well thought out. They had direction, they had where to go. You felt everything that was going on. You're like, oh no, it's like a good Spider-Man versus Green Goblin kind of thing. You just felt like anything could go bad. When's the fatality coming?
The fatalities, yes. The fatalities, for example, were just insane over the top. They were the best I've seen in anything, you know? They really outdid themselves on that.
So referenced the
special effects as well, all the different moves. Even like the ones you guys have seen, for instance, where my bro does the ice shank out of his own blood. I freaking love stuff like that. There's so many gorgeous things about the movie in terms of the special effects. Also the setting, the places they went to film those shots. Everything looks gorgeous, and so does, like, you see Shao Kahn, the statue of Shao Kahn, and all these different settings of Outworld.
You know what I'm saying? Very down to earth. Very like, I could turn around and there would be Mortal Kombat characters there. Like, it's very like where you would live settings. Not something too extreme, over the top, like temples and things like that. Like, when you're talking about Earthrealm stuff.
Right.
But we go other places. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, You don't see the Netherrealm all that much, but what you do see is nice. I mean, well, it's not very cool. I can't say that, but anyway, Outworld looks fantastic. The opening fight scene, oh god, that was really amazing.
Oh yeah, you guys got to see. We didn't do it. We didn't do it because we were gonna do this. You know, a lot of people got to see the first 7 to 10 minutes of the movie before the transition happened to the now time period, and we didn't do that. We didn't do it, and I'm fine with not doing that because
if you guys want it, though, just let us know.
Fully right now, whole experience. I wanted the whole experience at once.
So that was at the beginning of the movie, yeah, but with the fight scene, it was just bam, 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 bam. I really loved how things just flow together in such a quick way. One thing that's negative about the earlier fights, though, it feels a little bit like they're really quick, you know, and that might have been for an intention that we will go into a little bit later. Some of the fights almost seem like earlier on, just like they're just meant to just happen just so that they could say they happened, you know? They just, okay, bam, here it is. Here's this moment.
Especially with the edits, I kind of get the Marvel vibe, like the Avengers type of cutting, the pacing and cutting, the impacting. I kind of get that feel, like from like Thor Ragnarok or Captain America something. I just have that in my mind when I'm watching this. But it's R, so it's gonna go further than those movies do as far as damage and what's happening to all the characters. And then the plot points do get pushed. Like, to take a movie this size, a franchise this big, and you have to do it in a movie runtime under 2 hours. it's gonna feel like, go, get there, next. And it's gonna feel like that.
Right.
It does.
Right, which is also what I was thinking. We were talking about this earlier, me and Scorpion, about maybe there will be like a Snyder cut kind of thing with this, where there will be a longer version of the movie that includes a lot of these deleted scenes. I don't know what it originally was, but an hour and 50 minutes is not enough time with how many characters were introduced, how much story there is. So there are some things for if I was new to Mortal Kombat, I would feel a little confused early on in the movie. And I also feel like, I know this is a little bit of a spoiler, but not really. They explain Earthrealm and everything through a text, and I think that was ridiculous. I don't understand why the story needs to be explained to me through a text thing. It should have been a character.
Lazy writing.
Sorry. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say pretty much that. Pretty much the that same thing. The movie and its pacing like this. I really enjoyed it. Just to have it in a package. The Snyder cut needs to happen. Like, I don't think anybody watching this would have complained about a 4-hour runtime. I don't think anybody would. I think more backstory to even all the characters. There's so many. At the same time as not enough, there's still so many characters in this film that there's not enough. Hour and a half is not enough to do anything with them before they die, right?
Yeah, it's not. It's so much story to explain, too, to a new fan that hasn't seen anything or whatever. For a longtime fan, you're going to understand most things, but there are going to be a lot of things that are very different with how they interpreted the storyline. And some people might be upset about that. Like, of course, there's been all this backlash about Cole's introduction in the past and whether or not he's important or essential. And from what I've seen in the movie, it's a mixed bag. It feels like in some cases he's kind of forced down your throat, and in other cases he feels like he is helping the new audience be introduced to Mortal Kombat for the first time. So, what do you think about that, Scorpion?
Yeah, he's definitely the catalyst. It was what we all knew. As soon as I saw the thing, I was like, okay, that's who that is. He's not an in-game character by any capacity yet, but he is a plot point character tool that everything centralizes around, so that you can kind of go through this universe from the outside in and start over everything without having to go from like a Quentin Tarantino type of cutting, to where like you start here, and then they converge in the middle. They could have done that, but that would have taken so much more planning, so much more thought. It's much easier for them to have done this. And literally, this is a fight film, right? So it's, when's the next fight gonna happen? You need a loose plot point, a little bit, to explain the fighting and why. And that's all you really need as a vessel to take you through a movie like this. To take you through a martial film, you just need that loose storyline. Why is he doing it? That's all I care about. Okay, he's over there now. And then
it ramps really well. The story, in the end, it really climaxes, and it just all those fights and everything. It just kind of comes to a conclusion like that in a very powerful way, as you see it. Like he's saying, a lot of Marvel movies and stuff do it, where just everything leads up to that big moment at the end, and it really was epic. I say that word sometimes, but
it's hard not to. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard not to
even
for a movie like this,
word.
Because there were a lot of great fatalities. I thought Cabal and Kato, for sure. Obviously, there were some other characters that stood really out there. There were a couple characters, the acting and the choice of the direction the character felt a little bit off, but nobody felt like really completely off, you know. Everybody was still kind of within their lane of where the character should be, and the special effects, I just can't get over.
Some of the characters were dry, you know. Some of the character portrayals left some to be desired. Some excelled in areas you didn't expect them to. You kind of found yourself latching onto these characters, and what are they going to say next? You know, that wasn't the case with some of the main ones that you expect to have that drive from the first film, especially as a reference. We will get touched more on that later on in the spoiler section. as far as characters and all the characters and specifics and stuff like that. We're trying to be as non-specific as possible right now. This is very hard.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to do.
Yes, it is. And of course, we talked about the costumes being fantastic. A lot of them look like game quality, and the outfits they chose. Even like in the movie, you see Bihan, my brother's mask come off, and you see that they made a decision on it being attached to the hood. And that is an interesting thing, because if it wasn't attached, it probably would have been just flying all over the place on him and stuff. So they made a lot of decisions that they had to make to do the fight scenes, to make it to where everything flowed together. We understand that from wearing our costumes and trying to make things work. Shoulder strap falling down while you're throwing a punch and stuff. So they mixed it between practicality.
With that armor set. Sorry.
It's fine.
The armor set being as complex as it is, for you and me, to have a stunt performer do all that choreography in that crap, we understand. That's way harder than the first film.
Yeah.
I can imagine how many wardrobe malfunctions happen here. How many retakes, reshoots, this thing's going awry. I want to know. I kind of do.
So let's see, what else is there? The story, let's talk a little bit more about how the story weaved together. I felt in the beginning of the movie, like, very confused from an outside perspective. I was trying to think, if I wasn't a Mortal Kombat fighter, if I wasn't familiar with this, how I would feel kind of going into, all of a sudden, it's just, bam, here we're into things. And then it's just like, well, hold on a second, why? And then there's like, no, why? It's not much of an explanation, and that's okay since it's an action movie. But we do have a lot more story here, and we could get people into it directly at the same time. So, I don't know what else to say besides that I really liked the movie.
Then yes, we really like this. That he says it, I say it. We like the movie. The movie is not a fail. It's not a fail. So if you went in with kind of like I did, thinking this is going to be a video game quality film,
it's above that.
And my expectations weren't too high. It's a little bit higher than I expected. So good. Love that. I'm so
very
happy.
rare. So thank you, NetherRealm, for making this work. Sorry.
Yeah. So that concludes this portion of the video. So now,
spoilers,
as you can see, comes the spoiler section. So if you haven't seen this film for whatever reason, don't go past this point until you do, then come back to the video, so that right now, we're going to do all of the spoilers. We're going to do all of them.
You'll know everything.
Right now.
We wrote everything down.
From start to finish.
Okay, so do you want to go first, and we'll kind of go run through these one at a time with our pieces of paper that we have here?
Yeah, I got a screen, but yeah, I'm gonna do it like this. Okay, so we can go from start to finish of the film. First scene, right? First scene is our fight, but before the first face you see is my wife. My wife is the first thing you see in the movie. So your first attachment is to this character because that's the first thing you see. Her. And she's gardening with my spear, which is a kunai, which is what it used to be used for. The old ninja clans used the kunai as a gardening trowel instead of an actual weapon before it was a weapon. So that's a really good callback for them to do that for like a history lesson, little buff thing. Then your brother shows up.
Yeah.
With the Lin Kuei clan, and just illustrated by a stab sword through the Shoji door.
That was a great shot. I love that shot. I had to point out that.
That was a good shot to just illustrate all of the clans dead. That one thing right there. Everybody's dead outside. And then you're left alone. And here comes your brother Bihan, traipsing in like an asshole.
Let me say about that. We're assassins. Why is it that everywhere he goes, snow comes around? Like, everybody can see it coming. He's just added the weather changes.
A little bit. Like, is this impending doom coming? But, hey, run. You see the impending doom? Run away.
Whenever you see snow, it means run now. We're supposed to be afraid of snow.
So here he comes. He's coming in, enters the building, and your wife and son, And you know they're dead. You know they're dead because you know my story. If you didn't, I hate being reminded of this over and over and over again. I'm like, what are they gonna show? What's gonna happen? The ice effects here, I gotta give that. There's a lot of fire. Everywhere is fire. How to do fire? Just look it up. You can find out how to do fire. Ice, not very many things. Doing the ice effects for this film was insane to me. He does it on his hand, right? He just summons it by Han's hand, and it cracks, breaks with his skin as he loses concentration and force, and it melts in his palm, and you can see that in one shot go. I was like, oh, jeez. They're really focusing a lot on this ice.
Yeah, and the intensity of that scene, too, of the icicle coming out of his hand and the music ramping and knowing exactly what was going to happen. I've never been so afraid of ice before. I've never been afraid of ice before.
You never
for this moment. So,
your brother is so
it made
imposing.
ice scary.
This actor as a... Yeah,
Joe Taslim, I think his name is.
Very like, yeah, you get the hell out of there. He's OP as hell. So what happens after that? They end up outside for some reason. So that when I hear a scream, and I'm getting water. Well, I hate water.
Water knocks
water. By the way,
shot.
they did that true to the game. Their clan Lin Kuei speaking Chinese. They're speaking Mandarin, and I am speaking Japanese. So that's a different. That's to later prove to the audience that they know what they're talking about. And they don't assume we're both Japanese clans.
I like how my evil bro, how him speaking two different languages is almost like a more evil thing. You know, he's got two languages. He's thinking he's a good guy, but he learned it just to shit talk you, just so he could just say bad things about you, and you don't have any idea what he's saying when he speaks in Chinese. I love that. just anything he wants to say.
But then the fight happens. Your goons come up, like 6 of them. 6 of your goons with the mask that we promoted.
Yeah.
It looks way more damaged in this than the actual mask that we had made. But it is like an excuse to just let loose on whatever the heck's going on here. Scream, I come up, I take the gardening tool that my wife was using out of the ground, put my rope in it, and then use it and destroy them all. To illustrate my skill, right? And then Bihan comes right out, calling my name, which is the confusing part, right? You're saying that if they don't know what's going on right at this point, why are they so bitter enemies? Why is this going to happen in the first place? There's nothing before this.
Right, yes. Why. Exactly. I'm so confused from an audience perspective. What caused Bihan to be so mad? Is there something I missed here?
If you didn't know Mortal Kombat, that's what we're talking about. If you didn't know anything about Mortal Kombat and you watched this movie for the first time,
right.
This is the first thing. Why would you? But anyway, what does that mean for right here? It explains in the center of the film, not right now.
It feels like it was from strictly your own perspective and interpretation, where you just think everything ice-based is evil, and that's just kind of how you just interpret.
They don't like fire thing. I mean, I wasn't fired yet. They just don't like making them Japanese. Yeah, probably.
But that fight, though, I really loved your usage of the spear. As much as I didn't want to see my bro
There's a good callback move. There's a good callback move, right? Okay, happens at the beginning and at the end. I gotta say it now because it happens. So, the spear I do at first to Bihan misses. He just moves his head, and it misses and hits the tree. I pull it back, scar on his face.
Immediately.
So that comes back later on in the film, toward the end fight scene, when he knows this is coming. He baits it. I really like that bit. Kind of call back to the beginning of the fight. It's like 400 years before either one, but it happens very quick. Your brother is so overpowered that he kind of doesn't have a problem with me, and that annoys me a lot.
Yeah,
it really bothered me.
It's so fast. It's too fast. I wanted there to be more sequence.
And I was like, give me something.
Yeah,
give me something.
You were weak, man. You're weak until you come back from the dead.
There.
Yeah,
but give me more than that. You got the drop on us. I was getting water. My excuse was I was dehydrated. I was dehydrated and he just kicked my ass.
Yeah, but
flash forward.
What? Hold on. Before we move forward, I do
Go
have
back.
to.
Okay, go back.
I do have to say how really intense that shot. It looked like a statue of his wife, bro's wife. What am I saying? Not bro's. Your wife. I'm getting a wife. It's because the ice. That's how I would see my brother in a family that he had. There'd be an ice form like that. But the way she's holding.
Harumi!
The way she's holding your kid and that shot and the blood and everything.
And impaled in the middle, too. Stop showing me that! Movies?
Oh, hold on. I have to start
Stop.
this again. Okay, well, one more thing, too, though. Don't, what do you say? You just say, do not forget this face. Oh, come on, you could have done a better ending line than that. I feel like that was a little weak sauce. I get what they were trying to go with there.
Don't forget this face. Don't forget this armor, this accent, this presence. Don't forget the whole spear thing I do.
I don't know, maybe you could have been more angry about it. Like, don't forget this face. Blah. You know, just something
I should have said, like, I'll be back, like a Terminator line or something. It's more appropriate
exactly.
At this point.
Yeah, okay, we can move on
and there's a baby.
That amazing
scene.
There's
another baby. Okay, so they added a baby. I had another one. I didn't know that. I forgot.
It's a different timeline.
Hidden away from the fighting. So when my, when Harumi was killed, Satoshi as well, we just left the baby in the floor. I was trying to get back there. Like, ugh. Oh, you know that baby's dead. If I don't get back there, but I die. But here comes Raiden.
Yeah, Raiden. Okay, let's talk about Raiden first off. I missed the sarcasm right off the bat, but I have to say...
Lambert is missed in this film.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris Lambert's portrayal of Raiden is completely missed.
Raiden's too serious in this.
So much.
He's too serious. He's too dry. And he seemed to foresee as much.
And a dick.
Yes, he is. And you know what's cool about that, though? We watched that EMC Monkeys video where they did Raiden versus Shang, and the end of that fight is a babality, right? And he takes the babies and he brings them back. That is exactly how you see Raiden at the beginning of this movie, is doing the same exact scene from the EMC Monkeys video. And he also has facial hair. He has facial hair just like our Raiden.
So I have a lineage. I have a bloodline as long as this baby lives and goes through the generation.
Right.
And so that we can carry and get to this flash forward of a Cole character who's born with a birthmark that looks like a dragon. That's weird.
You all get free tattoos.
Yeah.
That's a cool feature, to just be born with a tattoo. You know, that would really suck, though, if you decided you wanted to get a red dragon tattoo and you just have people following you around trying to kill you all the time. Oh, that would be really unlucky, huh? This kid.
Yeah. So that's the plot. That's a plot point. So the mark in this movie illustrates you're chosen to participate in this tournament, and because you're a chosen one, you get the special abilities that you see in the game use. And that was a little bit of a take back. Like, I don't like that they did that, but I know why they did. They didn't want to go through each and every rational explanation to why there could be flames coming out of Liu Kang's hands, where there's the eye laser from Kano later, the force ball, Sonya, that whole thing. It's like, where does it come from? Well, it's magic,
Don't, you're jumping into something I want to rant about.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, it's further down. It's further down when this happens. I'm sorry.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Okay, anyway,
but first,
we're at Cole.
No, well, yeah, before even Cole, let's talk a little bit about that text explanation that pops on the screen. Let me see if I can find
that's right, it's in between.
Find the wording here.
It's like a jump forward.
Let's see, can I find it? I'll try and find the exact... Oh God, it's loud in the background. Oh wait, oh, let's go. There it is, I found it.
Right, just there. There.
Just there.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna read this to you guys. Okay, we're gonna say what this says, and we're going to okay, so it says Earthrealm is on the verge of a catastrophe. Should it lose one more tournament, the savage realm of Outworld will invade, but an ancient prophecy foretells that a new group of champions will be united by the rise of Hanzo Hasashi's blood. So that is how they decided to explain everything right before we see Cole. they just decided instead of doing it through the movie itself, we're just gonna just pop it on the screen through text. Like, that's not boring or lazy or anything.
Hey, Star Wars got away with it.
Yeah.
Star Wars started at episode 4.
Yeah,
That's how they
but-
kind of like, hey, we'll explain the entire plot point.
Why
in
couldn't
2
they
lines.
just said 400 and something years later and just been like, okay, have somebody pop in like Liu Kang or Raiden and be like, this is what happened all these times and blah, blah, blah. That's how I would expect it to go down.
You know, you kind of would. Because we knew that was coming later with Sonya when she does the whole exposition of the tournament thing. She does
Right.
the whole thing. She could have done that whole thing in the beginning. But
Same
anyway,
with Liu Kang. Liu Kang does one of those too. But yeah, we get to Cole here. He's in the middle of an MMA fight that he loses.
not in the middle, but he's about to start one. About to start one.
That's right.
And the promoter's like, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. You're a dick. You suck. Don't even try. What are you doing here? $200. You get to pay $200 to do a fight to get your ass kicked. Yeah, sure. That's okay. He does okay. He doesn't listen to his daughter that says to throw the uppercut. That's a callback later.
Yeah.
Doesn't listen to her. And loses. To an
And
armbar.
it doesn't matter to Jax because he's got this tattoo that anybody could get. And that means he's really strong. That's it's an indication.
He's a
that-
chosen, yeah. He's really strong. Yeah, his ability wasn't divulged yet. It won't be for some time in the film. Because you know it's going to happen because of the trailer.
I
But,
liked how they did this fight, though. The MMA fight, the way they shot the fight, that was a pretty, really, it felt like it was a real fight. It felt legitimate, and the angles they used, a lot of this movie, actually, when they're doing the fights, they use interesting angles, like this downward pointing up angle and different shots that you don't see very often in fight scenes, at least from what I've seen. It was also like another callback to like the Fight Club in MK11. I wonder if they put that stage in there thinking of this movie and thinking of they were going to go this direction with that because yeah, and then we have our Fight Club too. It just feels so associated now, and I understand why they'd want to get some MMA fans in. It's very compatible. But it felt like not only the first introduction of Cole, but going back to him a little bit early in the story, it was a little bit, yeah, like I said before, jarring. And he's like the empathy. We're supposed to connect to his story. But I will say this right here. The whole movie revolves around a damsel in distress storyline. And it's gotten a little old with that. Like, the beginning is your damsel in distress story. And then we move 400 years later, and then we have his damsel in distress story. And one of the things that I have a problem with on this is that Cole's just, he's convinced of everything. You just tell him anything, he's gonna believe it right off the bat.
Yeah,
So,
he seems like he's like, oh, nah, I can't believe that. That's okay. Yeah, he's like, okay, fine, I'm going. Everything that's happening, it's not even a second thought. It's like the first thought.
yeah, it's like this ice guy's coming after you, and icicles are coming from the sky, and this means that since I know he's an ice guy and I told you about him, you can trust me. I'm not one of the crazy people trying to kill you. All you have to do is just go in the car with me, and I'll direct you to every other magical person, and you're not gonna question all this magic until you see the words Mortal Kombat. All of a sudden, then you're like, oh, what the hell? This
Mortal
doesn't
Kombat
make
on
any
a
sense.
photograph on a wall. You're like, nah, that's crazy. The words? Are you serious? That's how you spell it? Nah.
Combat isn't spelled that way. That doesn't. Oh, silly. We're in a fake universe very clearly now. It wasn't the fact that. I know I'm jumping over a little bit here where my bro comes after his family. That's kind of what happens.
Jax warns us. He says, hey, your birthmark right there in your shirt? I've got that too. Look, we're twinsies, whatever. And that means you're selected, you're chosen, you're in danger. Go away from danger when it happens. We're tracking him, he talks to Blade. He says in the subtitles, like, alluding immediately, obviously he's talking to Sonya first, about finding Cole. And that he's in danger and he's going to be attacked. And so here comes your brother. We're sitting in a diner. Your brother does the ice rise move from Mortal Kombat 3. And I really like the homage to. Love that. He does it a couple times. You saw that kind of station in the air, goes up, down, and then up, and then throws it at stuff that hurts vehicles.
Let me talk
people.
about that for a second, Scorpion, because that didn't make any logical sense to me. See, the thing is that all these people are getting destroyed by those icicles coming from the sky, right? But when they go into Jax's car, no windows, no windshield, nothing gets damaged by this ice. How strong was the ice, really?
It does get damaged, but no windows. You see the dents in the side of the car when it parks at Blades, but no windows get damaged at all. It's made of that glass that the Cybertruck's made out of. Tesla makes it.
No, they really made a mistake there. I'm sorry, guys, but if it's knocking people down, knocking them out, kill them or whatever, it should be breaking windows too. And that just threw me off. It's like, how weak is this ice?
Give me a glass. Give me his glass squid. Break that thing. Cole is not good at fighting either. Yeah, they allude to that. Okay, so he's being attacked. This is the scene at this point where Bihan's coming, and now they got to protect Cole. So the one who stands behind to protect him with a gun is Jax. And so you know what's coming next? The face-off with Jax.
Yep.
That is like, oh no. We all saw the trailer. Oh no, Jax!
We all know what happens every time I fight somebody.
Every time Jax hits Sub-Zero, you're like, so? So what? Your fist isn't a stabby thing.
Oh.
It's not very... It doesn't do... Unless you stab, maim, crush, break a bone, do anything like that in this... It doesn't matter. It's just flesh wound, right? Then the shotgun gets the arms, rips those arms off.
Oh, and that
freezes them up.
Oh my god, that was the coolest thing.
Oh, the pain in his face.
Yeah.
Very good portrayal of that. And then he gets just like shoved off the ledge.
Yeah, it just like flicks him off, and he just looks so pathetic. Oh.
You can't cushion your fall.
Poor
He hits
Jax.
so hard on a bunch of rebar. No.
And yeah, that
so
shot
bad
of the
for
gun
Jax.
freezing and stuff, that was a brilliant fight. Just like your fight, though, it went too short. I understand that one a little more, though.
Yeah.
Because that wants to show, I think, a
everything
little
is
bit
so
more of
bad.
how my brother is just absolutely insane. Which, yeah, by the way, I have to point out on that snow stuff, how strong is his power in the movie? It's for him to be able to control weather in an area, as
He's
opposed
OP
to just...
as hell.
Yeah.
He is the OSPest. Everybody talks about me being OP in the games. If he was a game... Oh, man, his move list was in the game. Everybody would just take it back.
Wait, are we
he's the end boss?
We're not to that point yet where we've seen him talk to Shang. When does that happen? Because I have something I'd like...
Okay, so I'm just going by chronological order here. So the following ice step on, Jack's arms get ripped off. We're at Sonya Blade's house, introduced to the story as it's being told to Cole, and then here's Kano in a chair. He's captured at this point. He's being held hostage by Sonya Blade because he's got a mark, and she saw it transfer to him when he killed the Chosen One. Thus, plot lines. You can kill a person to be entered into the tournament if you're stronger than him. So that's basically what Kano did. He just killed a guy, and now he's at Chosen One. He's got the mark, and he can participate and get special abilities and gifts, which is one of his gifts is his eye.
Spoiler! You're giving it away.
It's not a surgery. It's not bionic anymore. It's the eye happened when he was mad.
Okay, well, since you're bringing it up again, I'm just gonna go ahead and rant here because I don't like that because I understand we're just going with this whole magic thing. Everybody can just become magical, but when it crosses into tech, something that very clearly throughout the Mortal Kombat series over the course of time is intentionally separate. We have had these kept separate,
Cyber
and then all of a sudden,
all of this stuff is
all
so
of a sudden we
separate
choose
from magic.
We choose the guy who's very grunt-like, who kind of would put a cyborg attachment in, go just meet some guy on the black market, you know, the back alley, open up his trench coat, and then boom, there's the eye I want to put in my face. That made so much more sense, and it feels like the reason they just decided everybody's magical is because they didn't want to have to explain it. They didn't want to have to work that into the story.
Right. Yeah,
there wasn't the time to do it. So they cut it. This is part of what we were talking about the short runtime. They made decisions like this based on wanting to keep the short runtime. They probably said, we need action-packed, bam, 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 bam. And in order to do that, they said, we can't take the time to explain Kano's laser eye. He'd have to go somewhere, do a thing. No, he's just going to get it all of a sudden. And because we did that with him, let's do that with Jax as well. Where the whole movie you're watching a different.
Later on, right? that happens. Because Kano, in this scene, his humor is basically, he's the comic relief.
Which he's
great. As soon as he starts talking, you know that's the guy you're kind of hanging on for your
Johnny.
If I was standing in a room with these people thing, this is what I would say. He's good for that. I like him as the Johnny character of this movie. And in this scene, he's held hostage. You know he's a bad guy, but he's enlisted by Blade to assist them in further, adventure.
I like how they all believe each other too.
$3 million.
They all believe each other, as if he wasn't just locked up. We're just gonna go right into an agreement, only because he did a classic fatality on Reptile, who popped out of nowhere.
I don't
looked
believe
very
you.
different. That was Killer Croc, right? Invisible
that is not
Killer Croc.
Reptile. It's a Saurian race. He doesn't say the right word. He didn't say the right word.
Yeah.
But that is all the things Reptile does. But not Reptile, to me. No, it isn't. He's not humanoid enough.
I guess it's not, right? So, but once he does that, though, all of a sudden the dynamic changes, and it's like, well, since we work together, even though it was for the mutual us not all dying, we trust you now, and we trust you to take us on a plane somewhere, even though I just had you locked up.
Heart rip fatality, by the way. Kano's heart rip fatality right there.
Yeah,
on
the classic.
non-reptile.
References like that really make this movie solid too.
First game.
But that trust between them, like, of course that wasn't gonna work out. Why would she all of a sudden trust him in a plane and all this stuff? And why would he, as Kano, trust that she had $3 million? He saw where she was living. He points it out. He is smarter than that. Huh?
Yeah, he pointed it out in the very same thing. She just repeated what he said.
I think he likes Sonya Blade. I think he likes just hanging around her. I think he just didn't even care about the money.
They're mortal enemies.
He's attracted to her.
He killed her partner in the original lore. What timelines, though? Okay, whatever.
Which, by the way,
after that, they get on a plane.
Let's see. Yeah, they get on a plane. It's
Sonya.
Her personality. Her personality is a little bit different than I'd like it to be in the movie. It's I want it to be a little bit more stern. She's given like angry soccer mom, and that that's not quite there for me. But I do have to give her total props to how that Kano fight looked. Not just the beginning one, but especially the one near the end of the movie. Like, they're just freaking just throwing all sorts of things at each other. Set destruction. Right? Oh. Yeah, I love that. So much better. I can't believe the fighting that she did with Kano. That was like one of the best scenes in the movie, their ending fight. But let's get back to where we were. Let's see, we were at the point that...
on a plane. That's when we made Liu Kang now. We get out of the plane, we go for a while, and Liu Kang disappears out of nowhere. He just walks across the desert. Here he is. Liu Kang. First thing that happens, fireball Kano for no reason.
Oh yeah, and Kano does not even react all that much to it. See, here's what Liu Kang says. Here's what Liu Kang says. Where is it? I have to find it. He says something like, I'm not your, he says, I'm not your enemy. He shoots a fireball at Kano. And right after he says, I'm not your enemy. Does that make any sense to you guys? Because it doesn't to me.
You don't know who that is? You have no idea if he's your enemy or not. He's
Right.
just firing fireball.
But it's not
But
a
this
very
is Kane.
friendly
This
thing
is
to shoot
Kano.
a fireball
No.
at somebody.
Liu Kang's turn. Liu Kang gets to take the film now. He gets to
Right.
be the wise guy that knows more things than this particular group, and take them to a place, which is the temple, which is basically not one. It's a hole. It's a cave. It's a cave. It's a cave in the mountain of the desert. I'm gonna go in there, and Kano's gonna steal Shinnok's amulet. I gotta say that right now. There's a bunch of stuff in here, ancient relics, and Shinnok's amulet, he just plucks it, puts in his pocket. Never gives it back.
Yeah, and those trippy
He's called
murals
out
in
on it, but he
there.
never gives it back.
Like those murals were made with magic or something. They were like some futuristic murals. I like those a lot. The set design in this particular area of the movie is gorgeous. You get like a classic training area. They train a lot
Test your
in.
might. The test your might area.
Test your might, yep, and there's a mention of test your might right in that beginning bit of the movie. And let's see what else here. I'm trying to piece it all together in my head. There's so many things that happen in the short period of time.
Nightwolf, by the way. There was in Sonia's house in the archive room. There's a page open in a book, and Nightwolf is in there as one of the warriors, one of those chosen ones. So the fight arena. That is the test your might area. It's where the awakening of powers happens. So this is where Raiden fails a lot, because the group is presented to Raiden by Kang. Here's the fighters. Here's some chosen ones over here. And Raiden's just like, no. This is the worst thing that could ever happen. You guys suck. You can't do anything right. Chris Lambert did that in the original film, but he did it with sarcasm and charisma. He kind of gloated. He pointed out specifically, hey, you are a weakness to yourself in your head, your confidence, your whatever is broken in you. You have to let this anger go. You have to do whatever. And he's a helpful person. He's a god. He knows all those things.
He can read
Raiden's
people.
Just like, really? Them? Oh, we're in a lot of trouble. He's like a...
He's a doubter. He's just negative about everything. I do have to ask, did you restart your camera? Because...
I did. I'm 50 minutes into the next shot. I'm 50 minutes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm just making sure. But while on that topic, let's stay there for a second. And I have to just talk about how that is one major difference from the original movie and this movie here is in the original, they were much more comfortable with just being like cheesy characters, more than just the singular serious character that's one-dimensional. And it feels like Liu Kang, Raiden, Kung Lao, who else is too, Shang. Shang is too serious even too. They need to have a little bit more of like Shang, for instance, needs to have more fun torturing people, for one. You'd think he'd have more excitement about that.
Yeah,
like
Shang Tsung in this film
Kerry Tagawa had
that
amazing balance between this like, oh yeah, I'm better than you, but also being this like epic evil villain. And unfortunately, this Shang kind of plays more of that one-dimensional, I'm just the evil villain, and I'm, not having much fun.
I'm the ominous witch doctor, king, lord kind of guy. But he does look like his look is like Lopan from Big Trouble. It looks the most like the inspiration to Shang Tsung in the first place that any other characters looked. That's all I can give him. That's it. What's with the black eyes? Huh?
Yep.
Why did that happen?
Not just the black eyes, but I gotta knock the outfit too. I think they could have done a better Shang outfit. And let's see. But yeah, that was one of my issues with this movie, is it felt like a lot of the characters were too one-dimensional and serious, and they focused too much on this, this serious element without factoring that we're all, people who want to get into a person more than just from that one serious dimension. Like, I would like Liu Kang a lot more if he was the original Liu Kang that had sarcasm. Remember when he throws Johnny's bags in the water? That's an example of something that was just very silly. And I know that in this movie, he's trying a little bit to be sarcastic. You see it more through Kung Lao when they're doing the
table talk. The table talk to get Kano mad. That was the best. I love that because they're just dry and trying not to be insensitive, but they're the most insensitive possible. They're like, yeah, Kano, you're useless. You can't fight. You don't have any special abilities. You don't have anything. You're like a rabbit. We're protecting you. You should be bowing down to him. Like, just pissing him off. And he like, comes unglued and his eye lasers. And Kung Lao's like, no! Hat, boom! Give him a bunch of shit about the hat, by the way.
And they couldn't see it coming that he'd turn on them. I mean, come on. That's just...
Yeah.
I have to point out, though, that Cabal dynamic. Cabal and Kano together. His reference that he says with the Shang. Cabal is funny as hell in this movie. He's one of my favorite
Brooklyn
characters.
Guy. Brooklyn accent.
Yeah.
Bane meets Brooklyn.
And so him coming in and explaining himself, and his fight scenes with Kang. Oh man, I love those. Those were just the special effects were incredible. All the purple, it's just and he's just so
too
fast
for you. You know, putting him around like sarcasm, like the game in Mortal Kombat 11. Better voice. It's the guy. I don't know the guy from anything else, but that voice. He's the only one that does that. It's the only thing he's done. Everybody's asking, like, who is he?
So one thing I do have to...
that plays Cabal.
One thing I have to throw in before I forget is I was wondering what Cole's motivations were for the whole movie, because if it's to save his wife and kids, he spends a whole lot of the movie not even around them. You notice that? You notice that there's no one actually protecting his wife and kids for a good chunk of the movie when supposedly they were the reason that he's doing all of this? See, that doesn't make any sense to me. All that really happened is Cole was just like, okay, it's snowy all of a sudden and somebody's coming after me, and then Jax is like, they're trying to kill your family because you're important, and he's like, oh, okay, I believe you. Well, we'll let my family just hang out over here and I'll go do something to make sure that, of course, that would set up for his family potentially
you gotta
dying.
do this thing, come with us now, and then, okay, we're going here, I guess we're gonna just do this. And then we go to the cave and we do all the thing. Expedition is like, all right, we're here. Nothing's happening. Yeah, Cole fails to awaken his power. Even after Kano does, he doesn't awaken his power yet. And Rain's pissed, like the dick he is, and goes, you can go home now.
Yeah, he's just impatient.
Then sends him home. Then Shang shows up and goes, okay, just attack wherever he's at. Just attack wherever there he is. Sends Goro over there to the farm. He comes out of the thing. He's like,
I guess I just wanted more of an explanation from Raiden or Liu Kang to Cole to be like, the world will end if you don't do this. And he's like, oh, well, I want everybody to live. Oh, well, that is important to me. You know, that kind of conversation. There needed to be a more intense version of that so that we knew Cole gave a damn about the world. Because it does, does he? Does he want to save the world, or does he just care about his family?
Do you want to protect the world, or just this 1-2 people? It's like the train scenario. Do you save all these people, or just the one you know?
Oh, speaking of trains, the training sequences, I really loved how they did that. And how they're trying to get them into the
sweep thing on Kano. The sweep thing on Kano, right?
Yes, the classic.
He's being swept by Kang.
The cheap, the old MK sweep, and he even mentions it's cheap. You gonna keep doing that shit? Oh, and all of his one-liners were great in the movie.
Boom! This gets taken out again.
That was a great reference too. Let's see, where are we? There's so many things, guys.
You noticed but I gotta go back a second. I don't know. Shang actually shows up with all the goons. He's got Melina, you got Raiko, you got Cabal. Everybody kind of shows up at the temple, ready to attack early with Sub-Zero. Actually, with Sub-Zero, ready to attack early the guys just to take them out of the tournament. They're cheating. That's the way the whole thing is. It's like, we don't have a tournament. if we take all the people in it out before it happens? So that's what the whole motivation is on Shang's side, is just to eliminate all competition. So they go to where Raiden is with all his champions, just walk in, and Raiden literally does the Gandalf, "You shall not pass," with the staff. Boom! He just goes, "You shall not." And they didn't say it, but he went, boom! No, lightning barrier. That's how you can't get to him.
Love that. And Goro, I thought that they did a great job with Goro and making the fight scenes work with him.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like about Goro is his face. There's something about his face. He just looked
about that face.
sensitive. He didn't look angry enough. He didn't look monster enough. I don't know what it was, but
I wanted the old puppet from '95. That
$1 million freaking puppet. But let's see. What else do we have? We have no Harry Potter shit. All right. No, yeah, things like that he said. Kano's lines just they gave that silliness to the movie that it needed.
Every time you say that, you're fucking idiot. Cole Steam, yeah.
Bo Raicho referenced. That was good. That was good to get that in.
Yeah, reference as the trainer of your gang.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he's gonna be a drunken fat dude if they do the next one like that.
Reiko and Natira, they look great in this as well. We'll get into that fatality.
Was there of all characters, she's a one-off. Right, she was in one game. And then I think Armageddon after that, but that's every character. That doesn't really count. But like one game she was in, and she gets in this movie just to die in it. Just to be like, hey, here comes Natara. She's even, and she flies around, and then Kung Lao's like, that's his only thing that he can do. That's the only thing he gets to do. The fatality with the hat on Natara.
Yeah,
and that was very satisfying. But then Shang just snatches him up, stall stocks him, just to see that I can do that. I'm OP too.
I did not even see that Kung Lao hat fatality coming. It happened so fast. It was just great the way that just went boom, 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 and it's like, there it is. Okay, here we are. Okay, and we're going right into MK11 here, into a fatality. And you
notice that Kung Lao uses Mantis a couple times. Like, if you just see his movements, he's slightly going into Mantis, which is one of the fighting styles that he uses in those games.
Don't forget that bicycle kick. The bicycle kick he used. Oh, yes, I was so happy about that.
Yeah, kick a bicycle kick into the tar pit. Into the tar pit for Cabal at the end of that. Well, yeah,
and we can't forget Jax's fatality either on Reiko. That was
the clap.
Man,
we all saw that coming in the trailer, but it never happens until you see the movie and you get to see it happen. Nathan Jones is Reiko, by the way.
Oh, he is
World's Strongest Man, Australia, a number of years ago, and he's in a lot of other things. With Tony Jaa, he was in like Tom Young-goong, The Protector. Love that movie. Yeah, he's always a big, scary guy. That's what his motivation is. I'm a big, scary guy. Any parts that are big, scary guy, cast him. He usually gets it.
Yeah. Okay, so then next up, we have, of course, I don't know. What's next?
Cole's power awakens, right? Cole power awakens while fighting Goro so he can defeat Goro. And it's a suit of armor. It comes out of his bracelet that was made for him randomly by the daughter. Bracelet becomes the armor that protects him, and tonfas that stab people. Those things.
Why did that become his power? The only thing I can think of is that he was getting his ass beat in MMA over and over again, and he needed something to protect him. He's getting his ass kicked so much. His power is to not get his ass kicked anymore. Absorb all the ass kicking. And to not have to use fists. He uses weapons instead. The fists weren't working. That's kick-ass. That's kick-ass, the movie. He just bends his nerves so he can't feel the punishment anymore.
He's
Yeah,
gonna
but
kick
the
his
fight
ass till he
scenes
gets
with the
tired.
angles, the fight at the beginning with Scorpion, well, Hanzo Hasashi and Bihan, that went too fast, but everything was epic between it. Same with Jax with the special effects, all the fatalities, and then we get into that Goro fight, and then it becomes kind of like a Marvel or a DC movie. All of a sudden, it just shifts right into that, and we're like, okay, is this Mortal Kombat or what is this exactly? And it was just still really epic the way he was killed. Same with Kano's eye in that fight with Sonya where she smashes him in the eye. Oh, and you see blood in his other eye. Just things like that. You just I can't give it a low score.
The guy with the vial, the chemical. I forgot what the chemical was called. But yeah, he tries to use it, it doesn't work, so he's an even playing field. But then Sonya gets her power awakened immediately, and fatalities Melina with her fatality, one shot. She just comes back like all that happened, and then is like, "Hey, Melina, how are you? Boom, you're dead. We don't fight anymore." That's how OP I am as Sonya. I just boom, you're dead in the middle.
We haven't even talked about Melina. The only thing I really want to say is I thought that the actress did a great job as her.
Yeah.
I thought her design was a little different than, like she's like more of your like MKX interpretation of Melina, where the teeth look, normal until she just decides to look ugly. And I've never been a fan of that because they just need to make a decision with Melina. I want her teeth to be out all the time, like Baraka.
But she is kind of a trick in the film. She's got some junk in the trunk, you're watching it.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and go, "Oh no!"
Yeah, she's got that Pennywise thing with the teeth going on, where they come out. Okay, Baraka can do it too, I'm sure. But she looked really scary
he
when
just
she
puts his
did
teeth
that.
back whenever he wants. I don't want to look ugly today.
I had to just go like, whoa, when that fight ended with Sonya and Kano though. But then they have that cheesiness of her having the tattoo and her just smiling. That didn't work for me, guys. I'm sorry. Just come on, like we could have got it another way. It could have just shown up while she's looking in the mirror. Just that timing. I just wanted it to end on that kind of stabbing in the eye thing. That was the best spot for us to move on instead of us to look at her cheesy tattoo and her just smile. The classic music. The classic music that we got to.
Wait. That's the very end thing that happens. That's the credits.
Okay. let's move back a little. Let's
move back. We gotta go with the story, okay? So what happens next? Is Raiden, by the way, when Cabal convinces Kano with more money to betray them, eye laser a dragon eye statue, it just for whatever reason just negates all of Raiden's power. And the shield comes down, then they come in, and then the whole fight thing happens in the beginning where Cole is, shot, sent home and killed was Kung Lao at this point, but then they're taken from the battle by Raiden to the void. The world in between worlds that no one can get to him. Why didn't you train in there?
Yeah. And then
why didn't you go there in the first place?
And immediately Liu Kang gives up. The person with the strongest resolve is just like, fuck it, we can't do this. We're screwed. Just immediately.
We ain't gonna make it. We don't have what it takes. Cole comes back after the whole Goro killing thing and finding his power, and at that point, forms a plan with Raiden. Hey, Raiden, remember how you can do all that whole teleporting thing? Put us exactly where we're supposed to be at exactly the moments we need to be with the perfect opponents now. And then that happens. So here goes, Kano with Sonya, then it was Raiko with Jax, then it was Liu Kang with Cabal, then it was supposed to be Cole with the group that goes to Sub-Zero. But they don't do that because Sub-Zero's smarter. He goes ahead, kidnaps Cole's family, takes it to the Octagon, where they started in the beginning, frees the whole place up, so it's his domain now, and lures Cole away from the group to face him alone. And that's where I come in, finally. Okay, so the kunai that has my lineage and my blood on it is used against me by Sub-Zero, and Cole catches it in his bare hands, bleeds on it, unlocking me, releasing me from the Netherrealm. And then I'm able to kick Bihon's ass. Bihon, sorry, he hates it when I call it that.
Yeah, I didn't like
so
that.
happy that I was able to do that, because I enter with the killing blow, right? He's immobilized Cole, he's about to kill him with that one, whatever the hell he was gonna do. And then, spear to the arm! And then the line, which is different than the trailer line. It's said differently in the movie, and I like it better in the movie. I liked it better when you get yanked out of there. Get over here! By, Hiroki? Yeah, that's his name. It's really hard to pronounce.
And the look on my brother's face when that happens, and as well as also just how his costume falls apart he takes it off over time. I thought that was a good addition. It's like, okay, I need to loosen up a little more.
Yeah.
I take my mask off, and you see the blood.
Which is way too oversized, right? The mask doesn't work at all if the armor's not with it. He's got this giant head that goes straight down.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of imposing. You gotta take that off, and he does. And so do I.
And the ice effects in this, the scenery in this, and how it was so icy, and also
destroyed
just
every time you go through it. Your ice shank to me, and being thrown through the wall when it was kind of turned and tied back again. But then it was like, no, Cole and I are gonna do, which I didn't like. I wanted to single-handedly destroy Bihon, your face, your brother's face, and not need help, because I'm a Spectre now. I should be able to do this. But I think I would have. It just would have taken longer. We needed to wrap this up. The movie being really fast like this. We just need to wrap it up. So Cole helps, and I get the fatality. I take my mask off. Fire! Flaming Skull fatality for me. Explaining to him, that I can now control the Netherrealm's flames within myself. I've learned to over these 400 years or whatever. Take the mask off, just incinerate Bihon. Incinerate him. Who, after everything, Shang Tsung.
With your classic, by the way. You have to mention that's your classic right there, but I have to say too that Bihon didn't turn into a skeleton. It's a little different. I wonder why they chose to not go all the way with the classic. Maybe because it didn't look realistic enough? I think it's because he's got
to be resurrected. I think it's because Shang takes him away with all the fallen fighters, takes them away from their laying ground toward the end when he's confronting Raiden.
So he's about to be noob, right?
Right. And Raiden basically just dismisses Shang. It's the only time I liked him. The only time I liked Raiden is that one line. Is he dismisses, banishes Shang away to Outworld.
He's cocky as hell there, like he should be.
And it says he talks too much.
Yeah, yeah, I loved that. I thought that was great. Oh, but we can't forget Liu Kang's his dragon fatality. We can't forget that.
I almost forgot that on Cabal.
Amazing that looked.
Where did I do that? That was awesome.
Yes, it was. They couldn't have been better. They couldn't have done that more justice to that. And then one more thing too is the Soul Steel too. They did that excellently. I love how that looks when Shang is,
we knew he was screwed
we needed
when
that.
He got choked up.
Had to be in that. And the classic
just to
music,
show how
guys.
OP Shang is.
The classic music that plays, bum 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 bum. It
was remixed.
Yes,
it
was.
The same song. It's Techno Syndrome is the song from '95. This is just arranged by a different person. Benjamin, what the heck is it? What is your name?
Well, while you're thinking about that,
Benjamin Wallfish. I think it's how you spell Wallfish. It's such a good song. When those credits came on and you watched it through all the blood kind of illustrations of everybody, you're like, this should have been in the beginning.
And they got the techno thing built into those songs too. Yeah. I do have to say one more thing that I just took off my notes, just ripped it off. Why is there never any conversation about cops? You notice that Cole and his wife and stuff, they never even for a moment consider bringing the authorities in. They're just, nope. Somebody's trying to murder me.
There's no authority figures. No military. I mean, special forces something, but like military, call 911. The only like thing like logically you would do as a person in a society, they never do it. They never do anything. They don't even call each other.
Yeah, it's weird.
But so the alluding after that of the sequels, I want this to be like a Fast and the Furious franchise. I want 8 sequels. Don't you? I think.
Yes, and we know from. We know from the next one that Johnny's going to be in it. Johnny will be in the second movie because they teased that at the very end with this poster, which is a great way of doing that, by the way. As well as they're teasing through talking about the tournament. When Raiden and all of them are talking together, it's very clear.
It never happens in this movie. It's just like the precursor. There's no tournament. But we're talking about it the entire time.
Right. And also on that note too, was it a surprise to you that they didn't have an after credits thing? After credits trailer, because I
watched the entire credits. I watched it too. Yeah, the entire thing. Nothing happened. But it's a Marvel thing to do that, so they don't have to do it. I just wish they did.
But it was it was a really like strong ending in terms of how things came together in the end, and so the movie starts off really slow, and then boom, all of it like halfway through.
Yeah, all of that's just like whack. Where are you? I'm in a plane. No, I'm in the desert. No, I'm in a cave. No, I'm in a white void. No, I'm in that world. I'm like running around.
If you have ADHD, you'll definitely enjoy this.
This movie goes really quick. Yeah, you feel that. I want the Snyder Cut 4-hour version.
Yeah, so those are all the things I have written down to say. Now I guess we could jump into the what kind of score we give it and why we give it that. How about you start if you're okay with that?
I'll start. Yeah, I'll give it a go. Yeah, I'm up there in the scores. Okay, so if we're gonna do this out of 10, it's gonna be about an 8. To be an 8 and 8 score solid. Okay, so many more things are good going for this that I wanted. That's why the score is so high. The only disappointing things were things I can kind of like, yeah, I guess, because if you put the cinematography together, you put the most of the cast portrayal of the people. I wanted more universe. The escapes are huge, but it feels like it's only a handful of people in the whole film. There's no extras anywhere. There's no life that exists beyond this spectrum of this very narrow focus of the movie. So I wanted more of that blending. But the first movie had an entire scene. They had a club scene. They had a city. They had the whole island dynamic was the reason why you wouldn't see anybody here. But Outworld being this like desolate land, but there's this roster of characters, right? You're gonna bring that up. There's a whole roster of characters that you could have just thrown cameos in. Boom, 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 boom. They all exist. There's an army. There are soldiers that are ready to take the world over. There's impending doom. No, there's 3 of them. Wait, there's 4. Oh, 5.
Well, you heard what Shang said. He said he's going to bring an army, so he just held them back. It was an old martial arts movie where you face them all one at a time, and he now has learned that he needs to have them not do that. So they've just been waited on somewhere. Just some room, they're all just real cramped up together like this. So, but let's see.
A lot of fun. This movie, I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it despite the magic instead of practical implications for power and the reason why Jackson is even in the crappy second film of Annihilation, Jax is more explained than this.
Yeah.
He wakes up in a hospital, futuristic hospital, and has the metal arms on. They weren't, in that particular storyline, he didn't need them. They were just strength enhancers, but they could have gone that way. Give me some techs. You don't know any techs? You can bring an Adinian in, a healer, and then combine that with like a cyber initiative dude that knows that is looking into special things. You could have done a lot with this, with that particular thing. Yeah, 8.5. 8. Did I say 8 or 8.5? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
You're jumping around a little.
8,
but
8.
I'm gonna start with talking about what you were just saying with the characters and the world feeling empty. I understand, of course, that since they're trying to, like you said, probably Fast and the Furious, they're trying to separate their characters out. But one big question I have is on Johnny Cage. So we have a 1995 movie heavily revolved around him being the chosen one, right? Him having these powers that could be unlocked. Now that everybody has done that already, what is he going to do in the second movie? He can't do that. It won't be as important. It would just, nobody will, he's one of everyone who can do that. Kano did that. Sonya did that. Everybody's now the chosen one, right? Or at least part of the group. We've decided it's now a team of people. They did before. It was still a team, but it seems more like it's that team element now. It's more
Everybody's
focused
got
on.
a second fatality, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe they're going to do.
That's true. And so I am going to follow up with a 8 as well, because as much as I didn't like the way that the story didn't quite make a lot of sense from kind of an outside fan perspective, where it should have been a much longer movie, because yes, we've said it's an hour and 50, but when you cut that ending, the credits out, it's an hour and 35. An hour and 35 minutes is not enough time for how many characters are in this, or as he's saying, there should even be more characters, because it feels a little lacking in that department. It feels like there should have been at least, like, I don't know, another 5, or like maybe more outworld people, like more, people like Baraka in the background, just hanging out doing something.
Everybody got a parallel, like, opponent plus Goro. That's the only cast.
It almost seems like Outworld is following COVID rules or something. Nobody's on the streets. Everybody's just stuck in their rooms. I don't understand why it's so gloomy. Did everybody die recently? Well, yeah, of course they did. But, so it's an 8 for me because the fight scenes really, really are top notch. Yes, I took a little bit away for some of them that are a little too short. The number of fights that are in this movie and how well the Kano and Sonya fight went compared to last time, the improvements you see on that, the references, whether it be Goro opening up those doors or, classic fatalities, any number of things. You see Shao Kahn even in this movie through in a teaser probably to him later on.
Yeah.
And it's definitely worth going out and seeing if you have not. Well, what am I saying? Of course you've seen it if you're listening to this review. Get your friends to watch this. Get them into it if you like it as well. Because they're clearly trying to make another movie. That's what the ending bit was all about. So we move on to the tournament. You'd see Noob Saibot. You'd see me. Let's talk about some of these characters that they left out, okay? Let me see who we have here. So of your originals, yep, you have Noob coming in later on. We could call that Baraka, or we couldn't. We could say basically he was in it. Not Baraka, I'm sorry, Reptile. Reptile was in the movie, not Baraka.
They cheated that. I wanted a real Reptile. Iconic first movie. Even the theme is like,
He should have come out of he should have went into like a statue or something at the end, just as a reference. Baraka needs to be in the next one. We have other characters like Blaze, Jade, Kintaro, Katana. Where was Katana? Oh, yeah, that would be amazing.
You got the clone, Melina, right away, but you didn't get Katana too? That's kind of strange.
Yeah, and then, Shao Kahn, Smoke, Cyrax, Motaro, Nightwolf, Sector, Shiva, Sindel, Striker, the list goes on and on. I'm going in order of the games, but you guys get the point. There were other characters they could have included in here to make it a little bit bigger in that way, as well as, the story needed to be longer. They needed to spend more time explaining it. There is a little awkwardness on some lines, like, I can't remember, like Sonya says, like, like fucking A, and you know, she just like lost everything or something, right? And she's just like fucking A, and it's like, I don't know if that line works for her, or it just feels a little cringe, you know? But there were very few cringe things like that, and it's just so distractingly just intense. And the special effects, the costumes, I can't give it any lower than an 8. I just can't. And so they did probably the best video game movie around, but the 1995 one holds a special place in my heart because I like that silly, serious combination, and nobody's gonna outdo the original Kano. I'm sorry. He is the one that he's modeled after, constantly going to forever be the Kano for me. And as much as I did like Kano and a lot of these characters, that movie in 1995 is my number one, because I like when they are willing to be ridiculous more. And they're willing to say, okay, let's act like humans and less like these are all superheroes and stuff. And so that's my opinion. I'm wondering what you guys though thought of this movie.
Yeah, what did you
I know
guys
that we've
think?
went on for over an hour about this.
My quality drastically dropped. Well, that's because my camera ran out of space. So we're gonna do this intro now with me looking less and more pixely at the same time. But what did you guys think of the movie? We took a long time with this. What did you guys think? What did you want out of the movie? What did you want it to be? What do you want the sequel to be?
Right.
How about that? We'll go into that. Go listen to music. That's Techno Syndrome by Benjamin Wallfish by Water Tower Music. It's right on there.
What references did we miss? Let us know down below. I'm sure there were plenty that we didn't even notice.
Yeah, what did we miss from the film that you talked a lot?
Both of us were actually somewhat writing notes while we watched it the first time, so we will actually have to watch it a second time without doing that to fully get all the things we might have missed. So, but you guys can leave a comment below and let us know what things there were that we missed, what you loved about the movie, what you want to see next. We love this movie, okay? This was not a flawless victory, but it was incredible. And so definitely check it out. Again, why am I saying I'm like acting as if they haven't seen it? Convince your friends to see it.
Don't forget, if you've made it this far, just like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for sticking around. Click the bell icon to get notified when we make things whatever the hell that's going to be.
And we'll see you guys next time on whatever the icy tundra we're doing. And if you see this movie and you get your friends to, they'll probably make a second and a third, and we'll keep going on forever. Yes!
Yes!